I've been saying it since the start of the summer. It's going to be a wild offseason for the Suns, and it just continues to be. Matt Ishbia on his exit interview talked about all the changes that he expected that were going to be coming down, how the season was an embarrassment and kind of unacceptable. And I think any Suns fan could have told you that, but he made it really clear that there was a lot of things that are going to be coming down the pipe and a lot of shakeups. And at that point, he'd already fired Coach Bud. And now he makes another big move, this time in the front office, promoting, put that in quotations, promoting James Jones and moving him to a more of an oversight role with the front office and moving him out of the general manager role, which he had been in for since 2019, and bringing in Brian Gregory to take over, who is a bit of an internal hire. He's been a part of Phoenix for a little bit now, for a couple of years, and he's more importantly a guy that has Michigan State ties and a guy that has a lot of ties to Matt Ishbia. Not a ton you really need to know too much about him. He's been a coach at the college level. He's bounced around a little bit. Hasn't never been terribly wildly successful. And then kind of moved out from the coaching realm into more, the management with the Suns here, and is going to get a shot now as a GM. One, the James Jones portion of it. When he had his opportunities, I felt like did a really good job with his roster. I mean, he is the guy that was able to go get Chris Paul and bring him in here. He's the guy that made a few really nice free agent signings and was able to kind of round out a roster and kind of help orchestrate a team that was able to make a push to the NBA Finals. Had a couple misses in the draft, but for the most part, if you look at the early part of his tenure, it was really successful. Then Ishbia comes in, and then a lot changes. And it all kind of goes back to like the last thing I was talking about Ishbia when after he fired Coach Bud, where it's just like, this guy's got an endless bankroll or just about that. He is a super competitive guy that really wants to win. He is used to competing and winning in business where you can just continue to hammer money and do stuff at it. Like there's no salary cap in the business world, in the bank game. And it doesn't work like that in basketball. And so you need to have some sort of consistency, some sort of chemistry with the team and some sort of culture. And this guy flips over the roster so fast. And he says he didn't have anything to do with player personnel before, but I mean, like, okay, maybe he's not the guy making some of the decisions or the face on it, but he has heavy influence, and he's the guy that's really implementing a lot of the changes that happened with this team. And Jones became a bit of needed a little bit stiffer back and say no, I think, a few times, and say, this is what we need to do. But sometimes anybody who's had a boss knows that sometimes you just say yes to appease them and kind of make things work, and whether or not it's what you really want is kind of what ends up happening. I think you saw some of that with Jones, but the bigger issue is still there. Like, there's not name a franchise that has a very active owner that's super successful. It doesn't really happen. Like, I guess Robert Kraft is well in the spotlight with the Patriots, but it's not like you just see him when they're always winning stuff, and he's always like at games and having stuff, but he doesn't really kind of put a finger on making a lot of the changes and stuff like that, the pulse of the team. He kind of just sits back. But then you got like Jerry Jones. Cowboys are an extreme example of this, where you have the GM and the owner that is just full on, hands on, making all these decisions. But if you just go down the line, like pretty much every owner that I can think of that is really bombastic and that is talking about we're going to win right now, the problem with that is you're not building anything. And to win in sports, you really got to build stuff. There's very few teams that have this assembly where it just all comes together off of one season where you put the mix. You got to go back to kind of the super team versions of the Heat and stuff when they came together like that. I was going to say Toronto, but even that was just one piece with Kawhi, and they pulled the trigger on it. Other than that all those guys were still there. It just doesn't happen. The Celtics put together a great run, all their guys, and kind of added a couple pieces. But it takes time, and that's the thing with Ishbia. Like, he's not interested in waiting for time. Like, he wants results, like, right now. And that sounds great, but he keeps mortgaging the future, and he doesn't care about writing checks on these guys. I mean, like, his bank account's going to be just fine one way or another. But there's no express lane to success in building programs and stuff like that. And you would have thought, as a Michigan State guy, that should be pretty well known. But he seemingly is going to forever press the issue with this and continue down this path. I thought James Jones did a good job. I thought what this team, and I think what this team really needs, is for Ishbia not to be more hands-on like he has been to start this offseason. They need him to take a further seat back and empower the people that he has put into place. So some of the question is he going to give Gregory that kind of lenience, or is this his guy and he's also going to be incredibly hands-on and we're going to see more of the same or worse of the same? Time's going to tell, but like, I don't think this was Jones' fault. I think he did some trades that he wasn't really. If you think the Bradley Beal trade was Jones's idea and then it was signed off by Ishbia, all this has to happen. Like, if Ishbia did not want that to go through, then okay. I don't think that. I think Ishbia was pushing that they need to go out there and get someone. This name came up, and he was like, we've got to go add another superstar talent. And that trade alone has put this franchise back 7 years, probably. I mean, they're going to waste 2 years here. They lost all their draft picks. It's going to take, like, it's 10 years. I mean, that trade has really what has kind of ended this window and this run of the Suns. So I don't think you can't tell the owner to do that. The owner can do whatever he wants. But it's a gift and a curse when you have an owner that is this invested and cares this much, because they do moves like this. And I don't think that's always what's best for the team.